we're going to move on, make this fairly quick to keep us on track here. I'm actually going to hand this over to the steering committee chair for Council of Chapter for the 2021 year, to Pete Adler, who is coming from the Colorado chapter for a piece of it, and then I'll jump back on after he's done. So Pete, it's in your hands at this moment.
Okay. Well, good afternoon. Thank you, Ashley, and good afternoon, everybody. As Ashley said, my name is Pete Adler. I'm from Region 9 Colorado chapter, and I'm the chair of the Council of Chapter Steering Committee for this year. As you can see the list on there, I'd like to also introduce my fellow members of the steering committee, more than half which are with us today. Rich Benevento from Region 1, Bill Rafferty from Region 2, Bill's with us. Jeffrey Brown from Region 3, he's the vice chair. Jeffrey's with us today. Jeff Hollian from Region 4. Eric Penthel, he's mispronounced his name all the time. He's from Region 5, Eric's with us. Ron Knock from Region 6, he's with us. Sharon Valiente from Region 7, and Jubin Pakpor from Region 8. Jubin's not with us today, but he was here on Tuesday, so work gets in the way. As you can see, the mission of the Council of Chapters is to serve as advisors to the APWA Board of Directors, the CEO, committees, and staff in support of the association's mission and implementation of the strategic plan. Next level down is the objectives, and instead of reading it verbatim, I'll just kind of go over what it means. What it basically is, our objectives are to provide input to and from chapters, to and from APWA for operational activities. One of the things, example recently, is when we standardized bookkeeping for all chapters through APWA. That was a great communication work back and forth. We support chapter growth through mentorship and connections outside of your chapter. After all, APWA is a big family, and so we have family members across the country and in Canada that we can share information with. Act as a conduit for information exchange between APWA and your chapter. Chapter leaders' announcements, and you pass it along to your chapter members, etc. Act as a conduit for feedback into APWA initiatives and operations that affect your chapters, and also to bring concerns and issues from the chapter to APWA. That's the role of the delegate. The next point is to how to make the most of the Council of Chapters for your chapter with your delegate. First, use your delegate as a resource. Delegates are tied in with the national organization. Most of us have been past chapter presidents, so we know how the local chapter operates. We also know how the national chapter operates. And we've also developed relationships across APWA with additional chapter reps. For example, Ashley had mentioned that Region 8 has a monthly happy hour, which I sat in with last night, which was great. Communicate any struggles or frustrations with your chapter, with your delegate, or the Regional Council of Chapter Steering Committee member, because that's part of what we do. We communicate back and forth. And also communicate all of your success to your delegate and Regional Council of Chapter Steering Committee members. As delegates, we like to brag about what's gone well in our chapter, and we want to be able to reach out to other chapters and say, hey, you've got this event or this issue's come up. This is what we've done, been successful about it. And it's not just that the Colorado chapter talks about what we've done right with our conferences, but we like to learn from what works in other parts of the country so we can bring it back and improve on what we do.
Thanks, Pete, for going over all of that. I real quick just want to talk about some of the accomplishments. I'm not going to read through this list, but in the last just 3 years, the Council of Chapter has completed a lot of different things, and this is a huge list of everything that they've done the last 3 years. As you can tell, there's quite a lot there, but if you look through that, I mean, the main headers that come out to me here is chapter. I don't know if you can see that, but the main bullet point on a good chunk of these is chapter, so it's something to do with your chapters. Which is fantastic. Council of Chapters is really just focused around making sure that those delegates are there to represent your chapter. And so they're bringing everything together at least twice a year when we have our meetings, whether they're in person or in virtual, bringing up any successes that chapters are doing, any struggles that chapters are doing. And we really talk about how to make those better, so that way we can improve everything on the chapters in there. But it's not just about chapters. There's also stuff in there about the national items that we are asking the delegates to help us to either come up with task forces or plans or work plans or anything like that that we can do at a national level to help support our members and support you as well. And so if you've ever got questions about what Council of Chapter has completed or what we're working on, or if you've got ideas or suggestions as a chapter leader, please feel free to share those with your delegate in your chapter, who will then share that with the steering committee member, and then we will discuss it and see if it's something that we need to put together and have it at as one of a task force or a focus group for the Council of Chapter. I kind of just want to throw this in here real quick. Upcoming for the winter 2021 meeting, the following task forces will be meeting. So this is what the delegates will be covering during our winter meeting. Most of these have been carried over from when they met during the summer. So Advocacy Task Force, your Public Works Awareness Task Force, Public Works Workforce, and then supporting of struggling chapters. So these are really the hot topics that we'll be discussing during the winter meeting, which will be held in February. And what to expect from your delegate. The biggest thing that you can expect from your delegate as a chapter leader is twice a year they have to submit a chapter activity report of what's going on with your chapters. These reports are extremely valuable to us here at National, but also to your regional directors and to other chapters as well. It really gives us a status or a pulse of how your chapter is doing and all the wonderful things that are going on, or if there are any struggle points for the chapter that we maybe need to spend a little bit more time focusing on. So your delegate may ask you as a chapter leader for information about your committee or information about different things that are going on. When they ask you for that information, it's always great if you can respond back to them with as much as you can and within a timely manner, because they do have a deadline to submit these reports over to us. What you can also expect from your delegates is that they're going to be an advocate for your chapter. They're going to advocate on your behalf. They're going to share any of the struggles that your chapter's having. They're going to share any of the stories, successes that you're doing, and they're going to share that across the board with other delegates, but they're also going to share it with staff and with the board of directors as well. So they're really your advocate at the national level for you. They'll be able to assist you with solutions for APWA members, help the growth of programs and benefits for APWA, and really just overall enhance your chapter. When we talk about one APWA, which Mary Joyce and Scott kind of talked about a little bit yesterday, this is what we mean by as one big team, bringing it all back together. And as a whole, your chapter provides the information to the delegate brings it back to national, and then the delegate will bring it back to you at the chapter level. So as one big team, we're one APWA. So overall, we're sharing, learning, and we're being creative together.